tossed. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the water, there is trouble. Correct? So the only solution is to come out of the water. That is the only solution. So in any case, so in this discussion here, so we have seen soul does not do anything. So who does everything? Three modes. Now the next question arises, are three modes independent? No. So who's controlling three modes? Huh? Yes, later on Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharancharam. So now, so that means whatever is happening in this world, Krishna is the cause. Correct? That's the conclusion. Krishna is the cause. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme. So everything is being controlled by Krishna. So why do people do wrong things? Krishna is responsible. Correct? That's the conclusion we have come to, right? That's the logical conclusion. Somebody can argue. Ultimately, Krishna is responsible. So, if somebody commits a murder, who should go to the jail? Krishna should go. He induced me to do the murder. I am. So, this was also the philosophy of Kamsa. So, when he spoke this philosophy?
Devaki was crying and that she was lamenting on the death of her children. That time he comes and pacifies her. That
So, this is specifically, yes, when the female child
Durga
came from Gokul to Vasudev, and then Kamsa went to kill, and then the female child turned into Durga. The female child turned into Durga, right? With 10 arms, riding on the tiger. And she said, what she said? You fool, the person who is supposed to kill you is already born somewhere else. So this was very surprising and frightening to Kamsa. And so Kamsa was very surprised. Are, what is this? Devda said, eighth child of Devaki. But this eighth child turned out to be somebody else. Even the Devatas tell lies. So, but in any case, Durga, his worshipable deity. So he was humbled. He got frightened. And then what he did? He went to Vasudeva and Devaki, released them from the prison, and he begged forgiveness. And he was saying, what can I do? Everything is happening by destiny. सब बच्चों को मारने के बाद what? I didn't kill them. See, who's responsible? Destiny is responsible. Good argument, right? I didn't do. Destiny. It is your karma. I'm not responsible. Your karma. So similarly, those who kill animals, they also can use the same philosophy. Correct? They also can say, it was the destiny of this animal to die. I'm only instrument. I'm only instrument. So animal was supposed to die. So what will you say to this argument? Huh, Sudhanshu?
although it was it might be that destiny, but why did you choose to become an instrument? It was like, although
No,
the
because it was destined, therefore I was forced to become instrument.
it's like herein we say that although the modes of the nature, although we may say that the Lord is controlling them and it's acting, but the living entity has that independent desire, because of which, because of his adamant desire, the Lord has to sanction certain things.
Okay. But then somebody could still argue, but because I have no control over my desires, so destiny caused me to desire, and then I was forced.
The desire is the whole and soul. What we can say, the responsibility goes to the individual himself.
Hmm.
Whatever means, like whatever inputs and things he needs to take inside the association, and also the thinking, feeling, willing is within himself. There is no control of others over what he may desire.
Okay, what you're saying is all perfectly correct. We will get a little bit more into this discussion after we recite the next verse. Okay, so in this discussion, so we came to the conclusion that ultimately Ishvara is responsible for everything, correct? So now in the next verse, what Ishvara says, Na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu ajnanenavritam jnanam tena muyyanti jantavaha. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So, why Krishna is saying, nor does the Supreme Lord? He's only speaking, na? Then why is he saying, nor does the Supreme Lord? Hmm? Hmm?
Krishna has not yet fully uncovered his glories, like he has not told. So,
But he's speaking, na?
so Guruji, just I want to understand your question. Your question is, why is he using this word Supreme Lord?
He's speaking as if some Supreme Lord is somebody else, correct?
Yeah. So he's
Third person.
gradually he's rising the consciousness of Arjuna, and through Arjuna mentality of people like us, like general public. So he's not
See,
directly saying.
before already he said, no, Mai Sarvani Karmani, Mai.
That was like very little, like.
So here
very-
also another little. And you'll find later on also you'll find
So here he's connecting.
if you say now he's not revealed himself or whatever, in the 18th chapter also you'll find.
He has also not told fully about Jiva also till now. So he's speaking in the relation of like Paramatma Atma. That
Right.
concept is covering. So he's not
So
directly.
basically your
Bhagwan
point,
feature.
yes, your point is correct. So basically in relationship to the material world, Krishna doesn't do any activity. As far as Papa Punya is concerned, and the relationship with the material world and the jivas is basically the Paramatma who's involved. So Krishna is only happily playing his flute in the spiritual world, that's all. He doesn't have to do anything with this material world and all this nonsense. So therefore, there are the Purushavtaras. The Purushavtaras deal with the material world. So therefore, he is referring to the Paramatma. So he's saying, but that Paramatma also, nadatte kasajit papam, na chaiva sukritam. So this Vibhu is referring to the Supreme Lord, Vibhu. So he also does not take anyone's papam, sukritam means punya. He also doesn't take. He is also not responsible for your papa and punya. So then who is responsible? So we said Jiva also doesn't do anything. Prakriti does everything, but Prakriti is controlled by Ishvara. Ishvara says, I don't do anything. So then who is responsible? So therefore, Ajnanenavritam jnanam tena muyyanti jantava, jantu. And Jantu. Prabhupada in some lectures he says Jantu. Jantu means animal. All living entities are like animals. So therefore, that Jantu, when he is covered, Muyanti, when he's put in ignorance because of Agyani Navritam Jnanam, when his jnana is covered by Agyan, so then he's bewildered and he is the cause. Who's the cause? The Jantu is the cause. The living entity is the cause of whatever happens. Okay, read this purport. This is classic purports. Classic purports. Such a complete, beautiful understanding Srila Prabhupada has given.
The Sanskrit word Vibhu means the Supreme Lord, who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life, and thereby his chain of action reaction begins. A living entity is by superior nature full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by the ignorance due to his limited power. The Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. The Lord is Vibhu or omniscient, but the living entity is Anu or atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has the capacity to desire by his free will. Such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord. And so, when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires. But the Lord is never responsible for any actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with the circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary misery and happiness of life. The Lord is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma or the super soul, and therefore he can understand the desires of the individual soul, as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desires as he deserves. Man proposes, God disposes. The individual is not therefore omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute independent living entities. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that one can attain to him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymns therefore declare, Esha yu he eva sadhu karma karayati tam yam ebhayo lokabhyo nishnate Esha yu eva sadhu karma karayati yam adho ninishate. The Lord engages the living entity in the pious activities so that he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. Kaus- Kaushitaki Upanishad 3.8. Agya jantur anishoyam atmana sukha dukkhayo Ishvara prerito gachet swargam vasum abhrahmeva cha. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful, and cognizant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord and is thus entrapped by nescience. And under the spell of ignorance, the living entity claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. The Vedanta Sutras 2.1.34 also confirm this. Vaishamya nairgrinne na sapekshvat tatha hi darshayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to.
Yes. So who is the cause of everything that happens? The living entity. Because the only thing that the living entity can do is desire. That's what he can do. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderments. His immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness causes his own bewilderment. So, therefore, the desire is the most important thing. I'm sure many of you may have heard this pastime of when Prabhupada was going on the morning walk, there was this devotee who wanted to ask a question. Heard this? He wanted to ask a question, but he was a young devotee, so he was a little shy. And the morning walk was almost concluding. Srila Prabhupada was just about to sit in the car. And just as Srila Prabhupada is about to close the door of the car, this devotee runs up to Srila Prabhupada and says, Prabhupada, I have a question. What is the one most important thing in Krishna consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada said, desire. That's the one most important thing. Desire. Because that's the only thing that the soul can do. And then when the jiva desires, then what happens? The Ishvara understands the desire of the jiva. What's the analogy Prabhupada is giving? Huh? Yes, the smelling of the flower. So they're close by. So the jiva doesn't have to tell his desire, but just by being over there, the Ishvara understands the desire of the jiva, and then Ishvara facilitates that desire through Prakriti. So that's what happens. And now if somebody says, okay, if the jiva is desiring something right, it's good. But if it's desiring something wrong, then why does the Lord allow it? Why does the Lord allow it? Okay, he has free will, but the Lord can control the free will also. He is omnipotent. Control कर सकते हैं ना free will को, change कर सकते. हाँ? Okay, so yes, so without the free will, then almost like stone. But any case, but whatever it is, still the Lord can control, na? Change.
Because living entity is very adamant on this. You want to do that activity or
So what? The living entity is more powerful than the Lord. That means.
Lord is He's loving Father, so
Uh-huh.
so that's how He allows.
So loving Father sometimes gives slap us, no? हाँ बोलो.
Acharya says that love of God is more powerful than Lord himself. So out of his love, causeless love, he doesn't interfere. So in that way, he does not force
The
it.
mother loves the child, correct?
But her beating is also love.
That's what I'm saying.
So that is also love.
So that's what I'm saying.
But it's desire of that child that he wants to learn through beating.
So now, so when
Krishna is
when he
still full-
desires also he can beat, no?
So Krishna is still fulfilling like that mother desire of that child that okay, if you want to learn like this, then he'll have to give. So that is like bashing putting into the material world us.
No,
But that is also love of mother.
No, see, you're a little bit manipulating the analogy. See, a child wants to put finger in the fire. Will the mother allow? Before he puts in the fire, the mother will give a slap, correct? So that he doesn't put in finger in the fire.
But
So
it is
similarly, before the jiva can desire something wrong, the Lord can give a slap and change.
no, but as I told that it is love which overpowers Krishna. So it is his love that he does not want us to force that you should also love me because I am loving.
Okay,
So
fine. So
that's
love cannot be forced. Yes. So that's the ultimate goal is to love the Supreme Lord. That's the ultimate goal. And love cannot be forced. So therefore, the Lord doesn't interfere with the free will of the jiva. And so therefore here, Prabhupada is quoting from this Kaushitaki Upanishad, says, Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so that he may be elevated, and the Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. So it appears as if the Lord is responsible, no? So, but the basic cause is Basic cause is desire. Desire of the jiva. Then the Lord takes him wherever he wants. Huh? Yes. How when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way. Okay, before that. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute independent living entities. That's right. Right. So now,
Prabhuji, how this mother father example you are telling, na? How then Lord is sending to hell? If he is loving, he knows what is good and bad for the son. That fire example we give, right? Then father and mother will save the child. Then why not? Lord is not saving us.
so again the same point.
Yes.
Because the Lord doesn't want to force.
Then father mother analogy is not good here.
See, Prabhupada tells example of his own personal experience. His son, he wanted to put his finger in the moving fan. And so he was saying, no, it's not good, you'll hurt yourself. So he said, no, I want to put. So then what Prabhupada did? Yeah, switch off the fan, it's going slow, and then he झटका लगता है. So then, okay, next time I want to. Because what to do? He's crying, I want to put. Same thing. Actually, Prabhupada gives exactly the same explanation. So he says, when the thief wants to steal, so Paramatma within says, no, don't steal. You'll have to go to jail, you'll get punishment. But thief says, no, I want to steal. वो छोटा बच्चा होता है ना, वो जिद करता है, चाहिए, ये चाहिए, ये चाहिए. So then Krishna says, okay, do it, but at your own risk. फिर भुगतना पड़ेगा, परिणाम भुगतना पड़ेगा.
Means Lord is protecting us, but we are adamant. So Lord is saying, "Chalo jao."
Ah,
एक बार
yes. It is
suffer.
our problem. It is our problem. Ah. Huh? Ask.
It's okay, Lord gave the permission, but that is causing a trouble to the other living entities. Then why the Lord give the permission? It's like example, you give fan, he's putting the finger, but that is the trouble to himself only. But if someone is killing others or robbing or something else, it's causing trouble to others. Then why Lord give permission?
What do you think?
Admit, I understand it's admit with your desire he want to do, but in that case, at least Lord should avoid that. You remind
अबे
them.
भगवान को क्या करना है, नहीं करना है, वो हम डिक्टेट थोड़ी कर सकते हैं.
No, I'm asking.
So that-
general, these questions are generally asked. That's why I was. These
So
questions are how
that's
to
what,
answer.
that's why I'm asking you. आपका तो हो गया ना, PhD हो गया भगवत गीता के ऊपर.
Okay, Jiva
हाँ?
is adamant. He want to do that.
हाँ,
That's why the Lord give permission.
हाँ, तो वही आंसर है ना.
Okay.
So okay, he's murdering the other person. Now why the other person is being murdered? उसका भी कुछ तो कर्मा होगा ना. So then the next question arises, so is he the agent of karma or is he misusing the free will? Very complicated. Gahana karmano gati. It's not so easy to understand. वो सिर्फ भगवान को पता है क्यों हो रहा है. It's not possible for us to understand. Yes, so it's not question of one lifetime, two lifetime, how many lifetimes, karma, all that is too complex for us to understand. But one thing is very clear, that what I can do now, that is within my control. That is within my control. Okay, now just to complicate the matter a little more, I'm going to complicate and ask you only now. So now, so if so we are saying the jiva desires, Lord fulfills through Prakriti. So now, if jiva is able to desire, but we see that the jiva is not even independent to desire. Okay, you have definitely heard this before, because I gave this example before also. So just like if you keep a bottle of wine in front of a drunkard, does he have a free will to drink or not to drink? Does he have? But what will he do? Why? तो क्या हुआ? आपके पास रखेंगे तो पिएगा क्या? हाँ? So that means what? See, the point is, see, desire. So the wine is there in front of him, but he can desire not to drink also. And that is free will. So then why does he desire to drink only? Ah, that means what? Is that so? Is there free will? देखो वो तो कारण हो गया, लेकिन अभी तो इसका मतलब फ्री विल नहीं है ना. He is forced to drink, correct? Because of previous karma, agreed. But now that means he is forced to drink. फिर free will कहां पर है? हाँ? नहीं, what the question is, what does he have free will? That is the question. Does he have free will to desire?
Yes.
But he's going to drink. Then where is the free will to desire? He can desire not to drink, but he just said that he will drink. माइक सामने बैठकर नोच.
Sorry, Roji. So, what I understand, Roji, like that is action. Action is always governed by including three modes of material nature. That is
See, now, see, in our discussion, what we just discussed, see, okay, action he is able to, he does the action, which is controlled by Prakriti. But why Prakriti is doing that?
because it was also his desire previously to enjoy. That's why. If not in this life, then previously he had desired. That's why facility is provided like that.
So that means what? That means now his desire is under control.
But still he has that chance of free will to choose or not. That option, that moment is given. Which
But
means
what is,
it
but,
is
but where is the option when he is 100%? That's what you said, Prabhu, right? 100% he'll drink, correct? See,
but even if there is little chance that some person will not drink, that is also there. Like if somebody has developed that, what happens after that? After drinking, what had happened before,
Ah.
beating and all, which means that possibility is also there that he'll not drink. Even a little, but that possibility is there.
that is almost negligible, right?
That is counted. That desire is counted also. Every moment we have
That
millions
is
of
very unlikely, isn't it?
we, we, we have created such prakriti or nature.
Ah.
We have created such prakriti because of our previous impressions, what inputs we have provided by desires only.
Yes,
So-
yes, what you said is perfect. Yes, that's correct. You want to add something?
Kind of.
So therefore, Prabhupada writes this beautiful statement. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. So when was that desire? Time immemorial. So time immemorial, there was a desire to enjoy independent of Krishna. Because of that one desire, then everything else is a chain reaction. Everything else is a chain reaction. So therefore, now even our desires are being controlled by the modes. The desires are also being controlled by the modes. Samajh na? Even the desire is being controlled by modes. Why does somebody like to eat meat and somebody likes to eat halwa? You must have definitely heard that example. No? Prabhupada tells of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Rangoon. He was cooking puris in ghee, and the neighbor said, bad smell. And what they were drinking? Nafi. Nafi. That was their nectar drink. So when dead animals, they would store in a drum for many months, and then after that animals get decayed, then juice comes out. Yes, that is nectar for them. So when some festival comes, they'll take out that juice. And ghee smell. And Prabhupada tells another experience. He was going on a flight. The man sitting next to him was eating hog's intestines with great relish. That means he desired that. So why his desire is like that? Modes. So the modes are influencing the desire. But then why the modes are influencing him to desire like that? Because previously he desired that. And why previously desired that? Because previously desired that. Yeah. So like that, it goes to time immemorial. Therefore, to change desire is also not so easy. Swabhav. Later on, Krishna discusses 17th chapter again. So therefore, the swabhav, even ordinary people also say, na, swabhav ko badalna bahut mushkil hai. It's a fact. Because swabhav means influence of three modes. That is going on since time immemorial. So now, technically speaking, theoretically speaking, yes, I have a desire, I have a potential to change my desire. But to change that desire also is very difficult. Because the modes are influencing even the desires. Not so easy. Therefore, the only person who can change, who can bring about the change is yes, oneself, that's true. But just that's what we're discussing. For oneself, to change one's desire is also very difficult. Because three modes are influencing my desire also. So therefore, the only way to even change the desire is sadhu sang. Only in that association can the desires change. You think about it, in each of our lives, we all had certain desires. At what point of time did the desire change? Yes, that is the only reason. That is the only reason that desire, which has been going on since time immemorial and is going in a certain direction, lifetime after lifetime, it's going on and on and on. Only when a devotee comes and interferes, then
Hare Krishna.
Sound is not coming.
मैं चैट में बीवी आदमी को मैसेज डाला
Bhakti crew, call and check whether audible.
I think Sudhanshu bro is checking, bro.
आचार्य you do something
क्या लगा है यार
Recording.
इतना आवाज आ रहा है
Lecture is
बाहर
still recording. Lecture is still under recording. Chitrakopishu, are you in train?
नहीं यार बोला आई एम इन खारगर स्टेशन आई एम गोइंग टू
तुम चित्रगोपेशपुर खारगर में हो क्या
सूरज ब्रो दो डिवाइस क्यों कनेक्ट किए? एक बंद करो ना.
अरे दो इसीलिए है, थोड़ा समस्या है यहाँ पे, आवाज ज्यादा है बाहर का, एक मोबाइल के साउंड से सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है, दो दो मोबाइल लगाए हैं और स्पीकर नहीं है, बाहर का दूसरा आवाज भी ज्यादा है। अभी उसका वॉल्यूम कम किया, अभी नहीं आ रहा है ना? स्पीकर नहीं है प्रभु, गरीब वॉइस है हमारा।
प्रतीक प्रभु, प्रतीक प्रसाद प्रभु. तो ये डिजायर वाला कॉन्सेप्ट क्या बताया कि you did the first desire to enjoy, then other desires are consequences of that desire. क्या है तुमका बताइए, ये थोड़ा सा जैसे सुनो ना.
प्रॉपर परपोर्ट में लिखते हैं ना Roji's explaining. Therefore, the embodied soul by his immortal desire to avoid Krishna consciousness causes because of the original desire to continue with pleasurable
सूरज में माइक बंद करना.
suffering again and again.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. सुनाई दे रहा है?
Yes, Roji, it's audible.
Okay.
Can you make us the host?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. ठीक है. Okay, so what's the question?
Hare Krishna. Guru. First question is related to this only. Na kartatvam na karmani lokasya sarjati prabhu. So I wanted to know, like here it is told that, where is it? So the first question is related to text 13. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions. So first thing, like in this, nature is used. So that nature is three modes of nature, or his nature means what does it mean?
So what is your understanding of nature?
One nature, like what we acquire because of modes of material nature.
And what's the other nature?
Uh, Generally it happens like we use different words, then different inputs goes, like shobhava. So
सब एक ही है.
एक ही, whatever we are forced actually. Yes.
So that swabhav, that is the influence of three modes. Or you say my nature. My nature is hot tempered. So why one is hot tempered?
Rajastamas.
Huh? It's all the same thing. Ultimately, it's all due to influence of the modes. So therefore, what he's saying is, controls his nature means what? By the influence of the mode of passion, naturally one is what?
Lower modes. मतलब
हाँ, उसे क्या होता है? He's attached to the fruits. He's attached to the fruits. That's the default setting in the material world. Why we came here?
fruit activity.
To enjoy. To enjoy. So therefore, that's default setting, to enjoy. But to not enjoy, that requires what? Control. Controlling the nature. Yes. So one has to control. That's what he's saying. Controls his nature and mentally renounces.
So second point, Koji, you used the word fruits. Here it is told renounces the actions. So when the word action is used, is it also always in context like fruits or work?
Of
And-
course, I mean, in the context of what we are studying, so it is basically Nishkam Karmi Yoga.
Because generally when action is used, so input goes like action, then reaction. Like reaction would be fruit. But
Mm.
here it is action like work. That's my understanding, literally. But I just wanted to know from you what exactly is it.
Mentally renounces all actions.
Is it that he's considering he's not the doer mentally, renouncing action, which means he might be doing? One way of saying, like you told, that it is he's not accepting, he's not desiring for fruits, but also is it like he's not considering himself doer? Is that renouncing?
Yes, that's also correct. So basically, he doesn't consider himself doer, also, is not attached to fruits, also. So, see, if you see in the word to word,
Yes, Puji.
yeah, sanyasya, giving up by the mind. So, anyway, we can consider both. He gives up his mentality as the doer and also he renounces the fruits. Okay.
Another question was there. It's somehow washed up. When it comes again, I'll ask.
Now we are on the path of changing our desires, Krishna conscious path.
Mm.
So now the thoughts, see, it's like a process is, I mean, we are continuing the process, but desire of enjoyment, that thought comes, you know. So like there is no end when all those our previous collection of, all the programming which is done in our subconscious mind,
Mm.
when it will get washed away. I mean, then our full, conscious will be Krishna, everything thought will be related to Krishna.
Mm.
Is there any, I mean, time limit or how long? Even like 30, 40
पूरा पहाड़ एक कचरा का. अरे कब होगा? कितना समय लगेगा? आपको क्या लगता है कितना समय लगेगा?
If it doesn't happen early, even though we practice 30, 40 years, 50 years, again the thought comes. Then there is a problem of going back again to the.
प्रॉब्लम तो हमेशा है. भौतिक जगत में प्रॉब्लम. देखो ऐसे बीच बीच में प्रॉब्लम है. So therefore, शृण्वतां स्वगता कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत् सदाम्. Who's Surat Satam? Who? Krishna. Krishna is Surat Satam, the friend of the devotees. So what he does? He does the cleaning. तो ये हम थोड़े दोपहर के क्लास में चर्चा करें.
One more doubt, Guruji. So, like pure devotees, he doesn't have a enjoying mentality in this material world. Okay. So when we see like some pure devotees, like they have likes and dislikes. Some for senses, like I have like of suppose rasgulla or gulab jamun. So
हाँ.
is that a sense enjoyment or it's I don't understand like why they have the like and dislikes of material objects.
Prabhupada was going in a train and we can't imitate, no? First of all, I'm saying, before only. Was going in a train. Oh, platform with the garam kachori. Garam kachori. Go, go, go. Bring. Hmm? और क्या आप कैसे गोविंद but not for you. बहुत खुश हो गया. तो ना ये आपका प्रश्न जो है ना आज हम दोपहर के क्लास में आंसर करें. आपको आना है तो आ सकते हैं. ठीक है ना. Okay. So we'll go to the 16th verse. We'll finish this section. ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषाम् आदित्यवत् ज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nations is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Okay, purport?
Those who have forgotten Krishna must certainly be bewildered, but those who are in Krishna consciousness are not bewildered at all. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvam Jnana Plavena Jnanagni Sarva Karmani and Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham. Knowledge is always highly esteemed. And what is that knowledge? Perfect knowledge is achieved when one surrenders unto Krishna. As is said in the 7th chapter, 19th verse, Bahunam Janma Namante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. After passing through many, many births, when one perfect in knowledge surrenders unto Krishna, or when one attains Krishna consciousness, then everything is revealed to him, as everything is revealed by the sun in the daytime. The living entity is bewildered in so many ways. For instance, when he unceremoniously thinking himself God, he actually falls into the last snare of nescience. If a living entity is God, then how can he become bewildered by nescience? Does God become bewildered by nescience? If so, then nescience or Satan is greater than God. Real knowledge can be obtained from a person who is in perfect Krishna consciousness. Therefore, one has to seek out such a bona fide spiritual master and under him learn what Krishna consciousness is. For Krishna consciousness will certainly drive away all nescience, as the sun drives away darkness. Even though a person may be in full knowledge that he is not this body but is transcendental to the body, he still may not be able to discriminate between the soul and the super soul. However, he can know everything well if he cares to take shelter of the perfect bona fide Krishna conscious spiritual master. One can know God and one's relationship with God only when one actually meets a representative of God. A representative of God never claims that he is God, although he is paid all the respect. He is paid all the respect ordinarily paid to God because he has knowledge of God. One has to learn the distinction between God and the living entity. Lord Sri Krishna therefore stated in the second chapter, 2.12, that every living being is individual and that the Lord also is individual. They were all individuals in the past. They are in the they are individuals at present, and they will continue to be individuals in the future, even after liberation. At night, we see everything as one in the darkness, but in day, when the sun is up, we see everything in its real identity. Identity with individuality is spiritual life. Identity with individuality in spiritual life is real knowledge.
Okay, so what's the solution to the whole problem? Yes, jnanena tu tad ajnanam yesham nasitam atmana. Okay, so basically one has to get knowledge. You see how Srila Prabhupada writes his purports even for, common man. Prabhupada uses words like Satan and all that. So common Western audience. So for that he uses these words. So therefore, the solution is one has to seek out such a bona fide spiritual master and under him learn what Krishna consciousness is. For Krishna consciousness will certainly drive away all nations as the sun drives away darkness. Krishna Surya Sam, Maya hoy andakar, jaha Krishna taha nahi, Maya ra adhikar. See, the next sentence also is important. Even though a person may be in full knowledge that he is not this body but is transcendental to the body, he still may not be able to discriminate between the soul and the super soul. Okay, so one may know I'm soul, but still he may not be able to discriminate between soul and super soul. Even the Mayavadis impersonators, they also know I'm soul, but they think soul and super soul are one. However, he can know everything well if he cares to take shelter of the perfect bona fide Krishna conscious spiritual master. So that's the only way to come out of this darkness, to come to knowledge, and then everything becomes clear. And so Prabhupada is saying, just like in night, everything is dark, then in darkness, there's a lot of problem. In darkness, there's fear. कहीं सांप होगा, कहीं भूत होगा. A lot of fear. Or one cannot see, one can stumble against something, fall. So many problems. So in darkness, in agyan, there is always problem. So one has to come out of the darkness by taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. And so that taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master is dependent on whom? On whom? Yes, the individual itself. So therefore, Prabhupada is going to identity with individuality in spiritual life is real knowledge. What a brilliant statement. Identity with individuality in spiritual life is real knowledge. That means understanding that I am individual spirit soul. And my life depends upon me. I'm responsible for my own life. Anyway, we'll discuss some of these things in detail in the afternoon. We're doing a little advertisement also. Yes. Okay, fine. We'll take a break and continue. Next section. Okay, before that, let's see there's something here. Okay, it's fine. Okay, read this. We already discussed this.
That is not Krishna's responsibility, your responsibility. Just like a thief, he is praying to God. My dear Lord, give me some opportunity. I can steal that thing. Krishna, first of all, says, no, no, don't do it. But he insists. Then Krishna says, all right, do it. But as soon as you do it, you become entangled. Why? You are doing against the will of Krishna. That is your entanglement. Krishna says, do not do this. Why you are doing that? So Krishna is giving you facility to steal others' property, but you become entangled. That is not Krishna's responsibility, your responsibility.
So in one lecture, Prabhupada says, you may have heard this. So the thief is praying, please give me a portion of steel. And the householder is praying, yes, please protect me from thief. So Krishna's position is very difficult.
As ignorance or avidya covers the knowledge of jiva, the Lord's other energy called vidya destroy ignorance and reveals knowledge. By the vidya sakti, jnanena, avidya, ajnanam is destroyed and knowledge of the jiva is produced. Just as the glow of the sun destroys darkness and reveals objects like pots and clothes, so vidya destroys avidya and reveals the spiritual param knowledge in which the jiva is convinced of his spiritual nature. Thus, the Lord does not bind anyone, nor does he liberate anyone. But Vidya and Avidya, which are qualities of Prakriti, liberate and bind the Jiva. The quality of Prakriti are the causes of bondage in the form of instigating the Jiva to become the doer and the enjoyer. And they are causes of liberation in the form of such qualities as detachment and peace. The respective qualities of Prakriti are awakened by the Supreme Lord, functioning in the capacity of Super Soul. He is only the initiator of Prakriti's function through this amsa or expansion. Thus, he does not show any injustice or cruelty towards the Jiva. Jiva Goswami in Paramatma Shandarbha explains that Vidya and Avidya are the two aspects of Maya.
So the Lord influences Maya to accordingly cover the jiva with vidya or avidya based upon the jiva's desires. Okay, so now we go to the next section after the break. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll continue with the next section. 726, the vision of a Jnani and Paramatmavadi. Okay. So now the Nishkam Karma Yogi is making more progress. So now he's become Jnani. So what is the vision and the realization of the Jnani? So that's what we'll see now. 17th verse. Tad buddhayastadaatmanas tannishthastat gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirduta kalmashaha. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Okay, so now the Nishkam Karma Yogi, his Tad Buddhayas, Tad Atmanas, Tad Nishthas. So his intelligence, his mind, faith, everything is fixed in the Supreme. Tat Parayanaha. So he's taken shelter of the Supreme. So therefore, the result is Gachanti apunaravrittim. Because Jnana nirduta kalmashaha. So because of his Jnana, all his wrong activities, no more wrong activities, no more sinful activities, because he has knowledge that I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul. So therefore, he has no material desires, he doesn't commit sinful activities. So therefore, because all the kalmash is destroyed, therefore, he very easily proceeds towards what? Apunaravrittim, liberation. He proceeds towards liberation. So he's becoming liberated from the material modes because he has become free from the material desires. Prabhupada, of course, again gives a Krishna conscious perspective. One whose mind, intelligence, faith, and refuge are always in Krishna, or in other words, one who is fully in Krishna consciousness, is undoubtedly washed clean of all misgivings and is in perfect knowledge in everything concerning transcendence. A Krishna conscious person can thoroughly understand that there is duality, simultaneous individuality in Krishna, and equipped with such transcendent knowledge, one can make steady progress on the path of liberation. So, what is the realization of such a jnani? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, cow, elephant, dog, and dog eater. Okay, read the purport.
Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. A Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portion, as Paramatma is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned in the different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living entity as a friend, yet maintains himself as Paramatma regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material production of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the spirit, the super soul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the super soul, however, does not make them equal in quantity. For the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and the super soul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is a conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, where the super soul is conscious of all the bodies. The super soul is present in all the bodies without distinction.
The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and super soul in the body same special. So, like in this example here, Brahmane, Gavi, Hastini, Shuni, Shwabaka. So Brahmana is which mode? Gavi? Huh? Hasti? Hasti is actually Tamogun. Right. Some passion is always there, animal, but mostly. Shuni. Shuni. Usually passion, ignorance, always same
Mix.
package. And Shwapaka. So you see that these different individuals are affected by different modes. But what is affected by the modes? Body. Only bodies are affected by the modes. So one who is in vision, who has clear vision, who is Pandita. Pandita is one who is in knowledge. So one who is in knowledge, she perfectly understands. Only the bodies are being influenced by three modes, and therefore there are these different bodies. But within these bodies, there is soul and super soul. That is common within all these bodies. And of course, when Prabhupada speaks on this verse, quotes it many times. So he also speaks about Vidya Vinaya. The result of Vidya or knowledge is Vinaya, humble. Or as said, the tree with fruits bends low. So if there are fruits, it will bend. So when there are fruits of knowledge, then one automatically becomes humble. So Samadarshana. Pandita Samadarshana. So he has this equal vision. But of course, equal vision may be there, but it does not mean that one behaves the same with everyone. Even though one has the understanding that there's soul and super soul, doesn't mean one behaves the same with everyone. So Srila Prabhupada in his purports, he gives example, just like tiger. So you can't embrace tiger saying that, oh, this is also soul. But one can show compassion to the tiger. How? Yes, by giving prasad. Prabhupada writes, Bhagavatam purport. Prabhupada writes that, so sometimes the sages in the forest, they keep prasad for the tiger, and just like dogs, the tiger comes and eats. And so similarly explains that dogs and cats, they are considered to be very unclean. And so therefore, unlike the modern age, so that dogs and cats are not supposed to be brought into the house and embraced and allowed to sleep in the same bed and all that. But he said one can keep the dogs and cats outside the house and feed them prasad. So even though one understands that there's soul and super soul in all the bodies, but the way to deal with different entities is different. Now, there is also one very important point which Srila Prabhupada explains in Ishopanishad, that one can't artificially claim to have equal vision. So this point of equal vision is misused by the Mayavadis. They say we have equal vision. What is our equal vision? Everything is supreme. Equal vision. So therefore, for us, everything is worshipable. So therefore, Prabhupada quoted one Mayavadi sannyasi. Oh, why are you going to the temple to see God? Don't you see God is loitering in the streets? So this is misuse of this concept, Samadarshana. Of course, then they have the concept of Daridra Narayan. And of course, Prabhupada says, then why they are killing the goat Narayan to feed the Daridra Narayan? Then you say everything is Narayan, then why you are killing goat Narayan? So there are a lot of flaws and fallacies in their understanding. So now, there is one other very interesting pastime in this connection. Of course, that will come out in Giriraj Maharaj's new book, The Dancing White Elephants. So, I suppose this was at Wardha. So there was one Gita Sammelan. You know what happened? Okay, that was one thing. There was no picture of Krishna. There was only lamp. So then Prabhupada, he said, what is this? You said this Gita Sammelan, there's no picture of Krishna, Arjuna, nothing. You keep a lamp. So then anyways, so there were all these sadhus and they were speaking all funny things. So then what happened is, so as some discussion was going on, so then as usual, Prabhupada was heavy about these misinterpretations of the Gita. And Prabhupada was very heavy that why are they misinterpreting words of Krishna? And did Krishna leave Bhagavad Gita for someone else to misinterpret? So when Prabhupada was heavy, then so one of those sadhus there began to say, Swamiji, why are you getting angry? You should have equal vision. I'm a little bit paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly. So then Prabhupada in his usual style, he said, I'm not criticizing. Krishna himself criticizes. Namam Dushrudna Mudha. So then one of them began to say, we don't know why Vyasdev has used such a strong language. Prabhupada then said, you're finding faults with Vyasdev. So Prabhupada was very wild. So then one of them began quoting this verse. Pandita Samadarshana. You should not get angry. You should see everyone with equal vision. Prabhupada said, I'm not Samadarshana. I cannot be Samadarshana. I have to find faults. So in this way, many people tend to misuse philosophy and they don't understand how to apply. So Srila Prabhupada as a preacher, then he has to discriminate between who is right and who is wrong. So it's not that, okay, everyone is right. No, the preacher has to discriminate. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada as a preacher, he was saying, no, I cannot be Samadarshana. I have to discriminate between who is right, who is wrong, who is Asur and who is Asur. So all those things one has to differentiate. So in any case, in this context, this is the Nishkam Karma Yogi who has got Gyan about the spirit soul, and so therefore he realizes the presence of the spirit soul and Paramatma in everybody. Okay. So then, okay, next one. Ihevate jita sargo yesham samye sthitam manah nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te stitah. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Okay, so in this way, so the Nishkam Karma Yogi or the Jnani, so he has already conquered Sarga in this life. Iha eva te jita sarga. So that means he's coming on the liberated platform. Okay, so liberated platform. So therefore he has conquered birth and death. And nirdosham hi samam brahma. So just like Brahman, the Brahman is nirdosh, no faults, no flaws. And because the Jnani also has no material desires, so he also becomes flawless like Brahman. Because he's realized that he is also part and parcel of Brahman, and so he has become nirdosham hi samam brahma. And in this way, Brahmani stitaha, therefore he is situated in Brahman or on the Brahman platform, the liberated platform. As Prabhupada writes, equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is a sign of self-realization. So that's the Brahman platform or the liberated platform. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditioned life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and the symptoms are described below. Okay, so now, so the Jnani has come to the liberated platform. Okay, so on the liberated platform, he is also flawless because he has no material desires, no sinful reactions, no attraction, hatred, and so he also becomes flawless like Brahman, and therefore is situated on the liberated platform. So now what are the symptoms of such liberated souls? That is what is being discussed in the next few verses. Okay, before 20. Na prarishet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, stira buddhira sammudo, brahmavid brahmani stitaha. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who's self-intelligent, who's unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God is already situated in transcendence. Purport.
The symptoms of the self-realized persons are given herein. The first symptom is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with his true self. He knows perfectly well that he is not this body, but is a fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is therefore not joyful in achieving something, nor does he lament in losing anything which is related to this body. This steadiness of mind is called sthira buddhi or self-intelligence. He is therefore never bewildered by mistaking the gross body for the soul, nor does he accept the body as a permanent and disregard the existence of the soul. This knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He thus knows his constitutional position perfectly well, without falsely trying to become one with the Supreme in all respects. This is called Brahman realization or the self-realization. Such a steady consciousness is called Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So what are the symptoms of this liberated Jnani? Na prarishet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha apriyam. So when he gets something priya, na prarishet, he does not rejoice too much when he gets rasgulla. I think so in Maharashtra they don't like rasgulla, I think. Acha, they like gulab jamun better. No, Puran Poli. But I doubt how many Maharashtrians are here. So you identify yourself as Maharashtrian, huh? देखो तुरंत majority चाहिए. So anyways, so na prarishet priyam prapya. So it doesn't rejoice on getting something very pleasant. No dvijet prapya cha apriyam. So when something unpleasant one gets, he doesn't become disgusted or he doesn't hate when he gets something unpleasant. So he remains sthira buddhi. Sthira buddhi. So he's equipoised in both the situations. And he's asammudho, unbewildered. Why? Brahmavit, one who knows the Brahman. He is situated in Brahmani sthitaha. So this is how one who is more self-realized, then he's not too much affected by the dualities of material existence. Material world means dualities. Heat, cold, happiness, distress, victory, defeats. That's the nature of the material world. One cannot avoid. But one who is self-realized, one who's on the transcendental platform, he's not too much affected. He doesn't rejoice too much when he gets something pleasant. Why? We already discussed in the second chapter. What do you think when he gets something pleasant?
Mercy of the Lord.
क्या?
Mercy of the Lord.
क्या बोल रहे?
Mercy of the Lord.
Okay, yes. So one considers that to be the mercy of the Lord, and so he doesn't become too much elated. And when he gets something unpleasant, yes, that also he considers mercy of the Lord. Yes, special mercy. Of course, not so easy when the situation actually comes. हाँ, वर्स तो सबको पता है. But then, yes. तो अभी तो क्या है, एक दिन ऐसा सब्जी मिलता है जो पसंद नहीं. So anyway, so we are still in the process. But then these are the symptoms of a self-realized soul who's situated on the Brahman platform. Okay, so so what is realization? 21. Bhayasparshesha saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Okay, so somebody online can read. So where's Vittal? Where's Vittal? Vittal has gone to Pandharpur. Vittal has gone to Pandharpur. He is not here.
I am here.
Ah, you're there? Oh, you manifested na, from Pandharpur on the spot.
Yesterday my health was not good, maybe, so my
Yeah?
mobile got disturbed.
अरे कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा, क्या बोल रहा है? पढ़ो.
Hare Krishna.
हाँ बोलो. पढ़ो purport
Maybe
21.
yesterday. Yes. Just a minute, Roja, I am getting. 521 na bhai.
Yes.
Biases.
Shri Yamunacharya.
Yes, Roja. Sri Yamunacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said,
यदवधि मम चेत कृष्णपदारविन्दे नवनवरसधामन्य उद्यतं रन्तुमासीत् तदवधि बदनारी सङ्गमे स्मर्यमाणे भवति मुखविकार सुष्ठु निष्ठुवनं च. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought, and my lips curls with the distaste. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in terms of matter is a sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell, and a materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can do work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the taste of in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul.
Good. Thank you. Okay, so in this way, the Jnani is on the liberated platform. So therefore, Bhaya Sparsheshu Asaktatma. Bhaya Sparsheshu, the sense of touch. The sense of touch. Bhaya Sparsheshu. So therefore, Prabhupada is speaking about sex pleasure in the whole purport. So he is Asaktatma, he's not attached to this sense pleasure. Why? Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham. Where he finds Sukham? Atmani, within himself. So this is Brahmasuk. Brahmasuk. So Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Sukham. So this is Brahmasuk on the spiritual platform. So to the degree one is experiencing that spiritual happiness, then to that degree one will not search for happiness outside. So one is happy in one's relationship with the Supreme. So he is not interested in external sense pleasure. Sukham akshayam akshayam. Akshay Truti. Akshay Truti. क्या होता है? Akshay means जिसका क्षय नहीं होता है, doesn't end. So at least they hope that if they open business on that day, they'll get unlimited wealth. At least they hope. So similarly, this yogi or this jnani, what he's experiencing? Sukham akshayam ashnute. He's enjoying unlimited happiness on the spiritual platform, Brahma Sukh. So to experience the Brahma Sukh, then one has to give up the Bhaya Sukh. So to the degree one gives up the Bhaya Sukh, then one can experience Brahma Sukh. So why is able to give up the Bhaya Sukh? Because he understands the nature of that Bhaya Sukh. What is the nature of the Bhaya Sukh? Yehi samsparsha jab bhoga dukkayonaya evate adhyantavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. So, son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Okay, so Pratik Prabhu can read the purport.
Yes, Prabhu. Material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary, because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of the transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Puran it is said, Ramante yogino nante satya ananda chidatmani, iti ramapadena shri param brahma vidhyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Rama. In Srimad Bhagavatam also 551, it is said, Nayam deho deha bhajam nirogi tapo divyam putrikayen. My dear sons, there is no reason to labor very much pleasures. While in this human form of life, such pleasures are available to the 2 liters of. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified, and as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendence. Therefore, those who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasures, which are the causes of continuous material existence. The more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries.
Yes, so the Jnani realizes, what he realizes? Yehi samsparsha ja bhoga. So the contact of the senses with the sense objects results in dukkha yonaya evate. Only results, yoni means birth. The contact of sense with the sense objects gives birth to what? Dukkha. Adi anta. Beginning also dukkha, end also dukkha, and middle also dukkha. So therefore, na teshu ramate Buddha. Therefore, one who's Buddha intelligent does not take parts in the sources of misery. So tell some examples from the Bhagavatam of personalities who got this realization. Yes, Purva and Urvashi, Yayati, Prahlad. Of course, that's his teachings. He didn't have to go through experience. Pingala, yes. Somebody said Avanti Brahman, Ajamil, one famous person. Mrigari, okay. Saubari Muni. So many examples to show that how any attempts for sense gratification never results in satisfaction, happiness, but only results in misery. So one has to be convinced of this, that sense gratification of this world will only give rise to dukkha, no happiness. So to the degree one is convinced of this, then to that degree one will not try to enjoy sense gratification. So if one goes to that tapasya of avoiding material sense gratification, then the result will be Shuddhyet yasmad brahma saukhyam tva anantam. Then one can experience unlimited transcendental pleasure. Okay. This is something we can do. Okay, so who wants to play the role of devotee and who wants to play the role of materialist? Debate. And only two. Govinda. So you want me materialist or devotee? देखते हैं कितना नेचुरल है. हाँ तो विरोधी कौन है? अरे जल्दी आओ है. अरे क्या है? Brahmana should be eager to debate. हाँ, 2 कुर्सी लाओ and face. गोविंद संभालो.
Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita, verse number 5, chapter 5, verse. Yes. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse number 19. So you all can recite after me. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonava evate adavante jamte cha nateshu ramate buddha. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, so whatever dukkha we are facing, it is coming into the contact of due to the three modes of material nature. It is the source of all misery. हम देख सकते हैं कि हमारे जीवन में कोई भी जो दुख आता है, क्यों आता है? क्योंकि हम भोग करना चाहते हैं, और इस दुख का एक शुरुआत होती है और एक अंत होता है. जैसे एक एग्जांपल ले लीजिए, जस्ट लेट मी कंप्लीट. जैसे अगर कोई मदिरा पान करना चाहता है तो कुछ क्षणिक सुख उसको मिलता है, ही गेट सम टेम्पररी प्लेजर, लेकिन अंत में उसको लिवर प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, कैंसर प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. तो हम देख सकते हैं कि जितने भी तरह के सुख इस दुनिया में हमको मिल रहे हैं, एंड रिजल्ट उसका क्या है? उसका एक दुख ही है. यस, यू आर हैविंग सम क्वेश्चंस.
अभी भी. और मुझे और मुझे कहते हैं कि वो
Well,
अरे वो रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है यार.
अरे रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं? Just turning on our audio and just.
सर वो पिछड़ो किधर है?
मैं ट्रेन में बैठा हूँ. अरे पुणे में फोन करके बताओ भाई किधर बंद हो गए. सूरजपुर कॉल करो ना सुधांशुपुर को. लग
ज्ञान में होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, लेकिन ऐसे होने के बाद मैं देखा हूँ लोग उतना आनंद में नहीं रहते हैं. यानी कि ज्ञान आ जाता है, आनंद नहीं आता। लेकिन
कोई उदाहरण दे सकते
यानी
हैं आप?
उदाहरण, ज्ञान आ जाता है कि ये है वो है, ऐसा अच्छे से जीना चाहिए, ये रहना चाहिए, वो रहना चाहिए, लेकिन आनंद नहीं आना, आनंद नहीं आता। मैं देखा हूँ कई बार।
कोई उदाहरण दे सकते हैं उसके लिए आप?
उदाहरण, अ, उदाहरण में देखता हूँ ना प्रभु, फ्रस्ट्रेटेड रहते हैं ऐसे लोग,
तो
हमेशा गुस्से में रहते हैं।
देखिए, ज्ञान का जो सत्व ज्ञान, जो असली ज्ञान होता है वो सत्वगुण में होता है, और सत्वगुण में व्यक्ति फ्रस्ट्रेट नहीं होता है। तो ये जो ज्ञान जो आप बात करें वो रियल में ज्ञान नहीं है। पहली चीज, उसको प्रामाणिक शास्त्रों से पढ़ना चाहिए कि ज्ञान क्या होता है, विशेष करके भगवद गीता से उसको पढ़ना चाहिए। ये पहली चीज है। और दूसरी चीज,
कुछ मैं आपसे बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ रहा हूँ, मुझे कुछ आनंद का अनुभव नहीं हो रहा है प्रभु, से में। लेकिन प्रभु जी मुझे बताइए, ये क्या आनंद प्राप्त होगा? ये गीता के श्लोक पढ़ के, ये जो है सब पढ़ के आनंद क्या प्राप्त होगा? हम स्कूल
देखिए
में जो पढ़ते हैं उससे तो आनंद प्राप्त होता नहीं है।
देखिए सुख जो होता है वो एक रिलेटिव टर्म है। हर व्यक्ति का सुख का परिभाषा अलग अलग होता है कि नहीं? तो ये जो सुख है, क्योंकि जो हमारा आत्मा है वो आनंद से बना हुआ है। जो गीता में भगवान बोलते हैं, जो हमारा आत्मा है वो सच्चिदानंदमय है, आनंद से बना हुआ है। लेकिन वो सुख को हम क्यों एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर पाते हैं अभी? क्योंकि हमारे ऊपर अविद्या की लेयर है। तो जब हम गीता जैसे शास्त्रों को जीवन में उतारते हैं तो उससे क्या होता है, हमारी जो अविद्या की लेयर है वो कटती है। उसके बाद जो हमारा रियल सुख है हमको प्राप्त होता है। तो उदाहरण के तौर पे मैं खुद दो बच्चों का उदाहरण देता हूँ। तो देखिए, एक बच्चा समझिए क्लास में फर्स्ट आया है और एक बच्चा क्लास में फेल हो गया है। दोनों घर दौड़ते दौड़ते आ रहे हैं। एक सुख है क्योंकि फर्स्ट आया है, एक बच्चा दुख है, क्यों? क्योंकि फेल हो गया है। अब समझिए, रास्ते में एक पत्थर था, उसका पैर स्लिप हो गया, गिर गया वो। अभी जो बच्चा सुख में है उसको लग गया चलो ऐसे झाड़ के, अरे चला होगा, हम तो फर्स्ट आए हैं, तो उसकी बात की खुशी है। लेकिन जो दुख में है ऑलरेडी, वो गिर गया तो उसका दुख और बढ़ जाएगा। तो अभी देखिए, दोनों गिरे तो किसको दुख ज्यादा होगा? आप बताइए।
जो गिर गया वो उसको,
दोनों ही गिरे,
हाँ।
लेकिन दोनों को सेम सिचुएशन है, दोनों दोनों के पैर में समझिए लग
जो
गया,
जो
तो
पास हो
किसको
गया,
दुख ज्यादा
जो
होगा?
पास हुआ वो कम दुखी होगा,
क्यों? लेकिन सिचुएशन तो सेम है।
क्योंकि वो पहले से सुख।
तो आप बोल रहे, तो इसका मतलब दुख और सुख रिलेटिव टर्म है कि नहीं?
हाँ है तो सही।
हाँ। तो जिस तरह आप बोल रहे हैं दुख और सुख रिलेटिव है,
लेकिन ये हमारे सिचुएशन से कैसे संपर्क
हाँ
होता
मैं
है?
आ रहा हूँ, उसी पे आ रहा हूँ। तो जैसे दुख और सुख आपने एग्री किया कि रिलेटिव है, उस तरह जो सुख भौतिकवादी लोग एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं उसके कंपैरिजन में जो आत्म सुख है वो कहीं गुना ज्यादा है। और वो एक्सपीरियंस करने के लिए पहले प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ेगा, है कि नहीं? तो बिना प्रैक्टिस करे आप उस सुख को असम कैसे करेंगे?
लेकिन ये जो आत्मा सुख की बात कर रहे हैं,
हम्म,
वो ठीक है, मान लीजिए बहुत सुखी है,
हम्म,
बहुत अच्छा है,
हम्म।
लेकिन इतना एक्सपीरियंस करने के बाद भी किसी को मिलता नहीं। देखा हूँ बहुत लोग जाते हैं, टेम्पल जाते हैं, मंदिर जाते हैं, आते हैं, घंटे
क्योंकि वो
बजा घंटे
प्रैक्टिस नहीं करते।
प्रैक्टिस भी करते हैं,
तो
किताबें पढ़ते हैं, माला भी करते हैं,
हम्म,
लेकिन उनको सुख नहीं आता वो। अभी क्या करें? एक यहाँ पे ये है चाचा, जो 15 मिनट में सुखी हो जाते हैं। और एक आप एक है, ये जो कह रहे कि ऐसा आत्मा की तरफ से सुखी होना चाहिए।
हम्म,
और इसमें कैसा है कि सालों साल प्रैक्टिस करना है,
हम्म।
फिर भी गारंटी नहीं सुखी होंगे कि नहीं।
नहीं गारंटी।
नहीं, कहाँ पे मैं देखता हूँ,
तो
अरे कितने सारे ड्यूटी में देखता हूँ, आपके मंदिर में आते हैं,
हम्म,
अभी इतने साल हो गए फिर भी मैं अभी ऐसे देखा नहीं कुछ परिवर्तन हो गया उनमें से।
हम्म।
मैं अभी भी देखता हूँ झगड़ते रहते हैं, लड़ते रहते हैं, कहाँ कुछ परिवर्तन हुआ है?
अच्छा, देखिए, जो आपने चाचा का एग्जाम्पल दिया, उनका सुख क्या है? वो पीते हैं तो उनको सुख आता है। विशेष आनंद की अनुभूति होती थी। लेकिन वो प्रभुपाद बोलते थे ये आनंद तो चला जाएगा कुछ समय बाद ही। और वैसा ही होता था कि जब ड्रग का नशा चला जाता था, सुख भी चला जाता था। प्रभुपाद जी जब अपना हरे कृष्ण आंदोलन का प्रचार कर रहे थे तो उन्होंने देखा, उन्होंने एक टाइटल दिया था, नेवर कमिंग डाउन। तो उसके बाद जब प्रभुपाद जी ने अमेरिका में जाके प्रचार किया तो जो हिप्पी लोग थे वो ऐसे सुख का आस्वादन किए, इनका नशा दारू है जो आप चर्चा वगैरह का एग्जाम्पल दिए वो सब छोड़ दिए। विदेशी लोग जो जन्म से ये काम करते हुए आ रहे हैं, तो देखिए उन्होंने भी ये भक्ति का सुख का आस्वादन किया। आज वो हमारी संस्था में बड़े बड़े आचार्य हैं। तो ये देखिए जीवते जागते उदाहरण है, ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं उदाहरण है इस करंट। और अगर हम शास्त्रों की बात करें तो कितने कितने उदाहरण है शास्त्रों में, तो मैं आपको अभी लाइव उदाहरण की बात कर रहा हूँ।
नहीं वो सब
But I was looking for some Shastric examples. What are the Shastric examples to show the temporary nature of material pleasure? Bolo? Shastric examples.
कंडू यनेन करयोरिव दुःख दुःख.
हाँ, मैं संस्कृत में बनाऊंगा।
यन मैथुनादि गृहमेधि सुखम हि तुच्छम.
अरे और एक संस्कृत श्लोक बोला।
सेम श्लोक है, स्टार्टिंग ये है.
थोड़ा मीनिंग बताओ भाई।
You think it's not audible, Proji?
Yes.
Itching
Just to me.
goes on itching that it gets increase.
Scratching the itch. Yes. Okay, that's one.
Pratik Prabhu, Umashankar Prabhu, audible to you?
Yes.
Too?
Yes, yes, audible. Okay, so that's one example Prahlad Maharaj is giving, scratching the itch. So, how much one scratches? Some temporary satisfaction is there, but later on it leads to suffering, dukkha. Some other example? Ujjwal bro? Pouring ghee in the fire. So, by pouring ghee in the fire, the lust is eradicated. Okay, so okay, pouring. Yes, burns like fire. Okay.
Example of Ajamil. For immediate pleasure, he tried to fulfill that. And to fulfill that desire, he had to do so many nonsenses. He had to
Okay.
kill, then to fill the value of his sons and his wife, he had to do so many other nonsensical things. And ultimately, when he got aged, he could not enjoy in that way. Similarly, in the case of Yati, by doing so, later on he realized he got old that, oh, there is no. So we can avoid by hearing these examples.
Okay.
Ultimately, senses would not have that strength. Then how would you? What would you do? Because desire still would be there.
Right. Achal bro? Yes, the camel eating thorns. So the camel tastes what? His own blood, but he thinks he's getting pleasure. Or koi?
Bhagavatam, this about the sex life that regarding the woman that दिन की बागनी रात बागनी पलक पलक लहू चूसे फिर भी बौला उसको घर में पोसे. So like that. So although he's sucking his blood and but still he's consider him that he's well wisher and family member.
Correct.
Like one example Prabhupada has given that mirage, an animal, in a desert, he is searching for water, but water is not there. It's like a mirage is there.
Correct.
He goes running there, but he doesn't find water, he dies there. Similarly, the humans, what they are doing, they are trying to get the happiness by different means, but they don't get, ultimately they die.
Mrigatrishna. One more example Prabhupada told.
Eating pleasure.
Yeah?
Eating pleasure.
Itching pleasure.
pleasure.
Itching pleasure हो गया ना? क्या? Liquid beauty. ठीक है, liquid beauty is also. One more?
And Prabhuji, it is here today, gone tomorrow. In Puranjana section, it is like the flower, the beautiful flower of woman.
Acha, beautiful flower, it gets dried up. Okay. Okay, Prabhupada told Delhi ka laddu.
Ah, yeah.
जो खाया वो पछता है, जो नहीं खाया वो भी पछता है. Of course, Prabhupada, he says that Delhi ka laddu refers to sex life.
Guruji, one more shloka from Lord Kapil Dev's section.
हाँ, कौन सा?
संगम न कुरियात प्रमदा सुजातो.
हाँ, क्या मीनिंग है?
The meaning is that those who aspires to reach the topmost on the yoga system, so for them that association with an attractive woman is declared to the like gateway to hell for advancement yoga.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's go ahead now. 23rd verse. So now the question arises. So here he says that the Jnani understands that sense gratification is a cause of dukkha. So that means he has to tolerate the urge to enjoy senses. Till when he has to tolerate? Shaknoti haiva yashodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhi naraha. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. Okay, so till when he has to tolerate? Till he gives up the body. Prak sharira vimokshana. Yes, till he gives up the sharir, he has to tolerate kama, krodha, udbhavam, vegam. Okay, so he has to tolerate. So it applies to us also. तो कभी लोग पूछते हैं कब तक tolerate? This is the answer. Prak sharira vimokshana. Till one gives up the body, one has to tolerate these urges. Of course, if one fortunately comes to the level of prema, then it's fine. But then otherwise, one has to tolerate. Then he can be sukhi, sa sukhi naraha. So the jnani, the yogi, they have to tolerate. So Prabhupada is talking about basically vacho vegam, manasukrodha vegam, all that. And then Prabhupada writes, therefore, one must practice to control them before one gives up this material body. One who can do this is understood to be self-realized and is thus happy in the state of self-realization. It is this important statement. It is the duty of the transcendentalist to try strenuously to control desire and anger. Strenuously. So it's not easy, but one has to try strenuously. पूरी तरह से प्रयास करना. ऐसा नहीं कि सुपरफिशियल प्रयास, जोर लगा के प्रयास करना पड़ेगा. Because these are what? Vega. Pushing, very strong pushing. So it's not so easy to control these Vegas. So one has to tolerate them. Till one gives up the body. Of course, Narottam Das Thakur has told how they can be controlled. Kama, yes, Krishna karma arpane. So the calm can be transformed by strenuously serving Krishna. So if one is enthusiastically using all one's senses to serve Krishna, then that's how the karma can be transformed into prema. And krodha, yes, bhakta diveshi jane. Okay, 24. Yo anta sukho antar aramas tathantar jyotirevayah sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto digachati. So all these are the symptoms of the jnani. Okay, these verses are discussing the symptoms, the realizations of the jnani. So one whose happiness is within, who's active and rejoices within, whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the supreme and ultimately he attains the supreme. So you can see how many times anta is come. Anta sukha, anta aramas, antar jyoti. Everything is antaha. Everything is inside, inner. So he's experiencing happiness within, he's rejoicing within, he's satisfied within, he's illuminated within. So it's his relationship with the Supreme that is giving him that joy, that happiness. And the result will be, so because he's Brahma Nirvanam, he's liberated in Brahman. So what he achieves? Brahma Bhuto Digachati. So therefore he comes to the Brahma Bhuta stage. In the conditioned stage, it is called Jiva Bhuta. So Jiva Bhuta has to become Brahma Bhuta. So the Brahma Bhuta stage will be attained when one is totally satisfied within. He's not looking for anything outside. 25. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rushaya Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadveda Yadatmanaha Sarvabhuta Hiterataha. Mute karo bhai. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Okay, before that, in the previous purport, Prabhupada writes some important points. Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? Correct? So one has to experience some happiness. So a liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. That is called param drishtva. Param drishtva. Drishtva. So actual experience. He can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and be happy, irrespective of whether you get prasad or not. So then such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahma Bhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back to God and back. Okay. So 25. So such a person who's Brahma Nirvanam, he's on the liberated platform. So he's on the liberated platform and he Kshina Kalmashaha. So all the Kalmash is gone. All the sins are gone. Chinna. Chinna Dvaida. All the dualities are gone because he's not affected by dualities. Dualities affect when? When? Bodily platform. On the bodily platform, dualities affect. Now this person has risen above the bodily platform. He's on the liberated platform. So therefore, he's not affected by dualities. And Sarvabhuta Hiterata, because he sees everyone as spirit souls. So because he sees everyone as spirit souls having relationship with the Supreme, therefore he thinks about the welfare of everyone. Of course, Prabhupada gives again a Krishna conscious perspective. When a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. Next paragraph, he says, a person engaged only in ministering the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties and the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, his actually liberated soul, although he may be in the material tabernacle. 26. Kama krodha vimuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Those are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. So in this way, if one practices all this that have been mentioned, that is controlling anger, kama, krodha, vimuktanam. So when one is practicing all this, then one comes to the self-realized platform, and yatinam, yatachetasam. So he is full control of the mind and he is disciplined and all that. then he comes to the Brahma Nirvanam. He attains liberation. He comes to the liberated platform. Abhito. Abhito. Abhito means very near future. Not too long. Not too long. Very near future. So in this connection, Srila Prabhupada, he gives this example. Okay, read the second paragraph. Second and third paragraphs. In the conditioned soul.
In the conditioned soul, the desire to enjoy the fruitive results of the work is so deep rooted that it is very difficult even for the great sages to control such desires, despite great endeavors. Devotee of the Lord, constantly engaged in the devotional service in Krishna consciousness, perfect in self-realization, very quickly attains the liberation in the Supreme. Owing to his complete knowledge in the self-realization, he always remains in trance. To cite an analogous example of this, Darshana Dhyana
Samsparshir matsya kurma vihangamaha swanyapatyani pushnanti tataham api padmaja.
By vision, by meditation, and by touch, only do the fish, the tortoise, the bird maintains their offspring. Similarly, do I also, O Padmaja.
Aage?
The fish brings up its offspring simply by looking at them. The
Darshan.
tortoise brings up its offspring simply by meditation.
Yeah.
The eggs of the tortoise are laid on the land, and the tortoise meditates on the eggs while in the water. Similarly, the devotees in Krishna consciousness always, although far away from the Lord's abode, can elevate himself to that abode simply by thinking of him constantly, by engagement in Krishna consciousness. He does not feel the pangs of the material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme.
Yes, so that's how. So the Lord reciprocates with these jnanis who are performing all this strict discipline. And so therefore they come to the liberated platform. So ultimately it is the Supreme Lord only who can actually give liberation to anyone. So that's how they come to the liberated platform. So here, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan quotes, this is surrender to me. Baldev Vidyabhushan quotes the above analogy to indicate that for those who endeavor seriously, as described in this Gita verse, perfection is readily available because the super soul is concerned about those who act in this fashion. By sincerely fixing their minds on the Lord, they evoke his mercy. Okay, so that's how the jnanis evoke the mercy of the Lord, and by the Lord's mercy, they come to the liberated platform. So the next two verses, now here itself, the Lord is introducing Dhyana Yoga. Okay, so again, surrender to me. Krishna has now finished his discussion on how to gain liberation by working in complete knowledge of the super soul. In the next two verses, he explains how to achieve that same liberated condition through Ashtanga Yoga. These two texts introduce chapter 6, which covers Ashtanga Yoga in detail. So we'll just recite and read the translation. The details are, of course, next chapter. Sparshan kritma bahir chakshushaimantare bhruvo pranapanau samo kritva nasabhyantaracharinav yatendriya manobuddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigateksha bhaya krodho ya sada mukta eva saha. Read the translation.
Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breath within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated.
And the last verse. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suradam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Okay, read the translation, the first paragraph.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Purport. The conditioned soul within the clutches of the illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula of peace, which is explained in this part of Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because he is the proprietor of all planets and the demigod Theron. No one is a greater than he. He is a greater than the greatest of demigod. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma in the Vedas, Shvetasvatara Upanishad 6.7. The Supreme Lord is the described as Tama Ishwaranam, Paramam Maheshwaranam. Under the spell of illusion, living entity are trying to be lords of all they survey. But actually they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned soul are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. This is a sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the greatest demigod, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness.
Okay, and the next paragraph, Prabhupada is basically summarizing the whole chapter. Anyway, I can read that. Thus, in Bhagwan purports to the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so someone read this commentary.
This verse explains that yogis who act in this way by obtaining knowledge of Paramatma through bhakti, like the Gyanis, attain liberation. I am the guardian, Bhoktaram, of the Yajna, of the Karma Yogis, and the austerities, Tapasam, of the Gyanis. That means that I am the object of worship of the Karma Yogis and Gyanis. I am the great controller of all people, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, the Paramatma, the object of worship of the Ashtanga Yogis. I am the friend of all entities. I am the person who gives benefit to all living entities by instructions about bhakti. Through the medium of my devotees, out of my mercy, I am the object of worship for the devotees. One cannot attain realization of me, who am beyond the modes, by Sattva Guna Jnana. I have said that I am attainable only by bhakti. Bhaktyaham
Bhaktyaham
eka
ekaya grahya.
grahya. In the same way, the yogi, only by bhakti, which is beyond the modes, by realizing me as a Paramatma, Gyatva Mam, the object of his worship, attains liberation, Shantim. This chapter explains that the Jnani and the yogi, by Nishkam Karma Yoga, attain liberation after realizing both Atma and Paramatma.
Okay, so in this way, this verse refers to all the karma yogis. So the Bhoktaram Yajna, that refers to karma yogis. Tapasam refers to Jnanis. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram refers to Paramatma, so the Ashtang yogis. And Suridam, Sarvabhutanam, so the devotees are the real Surid. So that indicates the Bhakti Yoga. So in this way, Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer and beneficiary for everyone. And therefore, no one can attain perfection without some bhakti. So everyone requires some bhakti in order to achieve perfection. So in this way, when one realizes this, that one is dependent on the Supreme for everything, so then one can be peaceful. To the degree one is dependent on the Supreme, one can be peaceful. Correct? So Prabhupada gives example, just like a small child. Small child is very peaceful. Why? Yes, fully dependent on the parents. So very peaceful. So similarly, when one understands that ultimately the Supreme Lord has to give the results of all my sacrifices or bhakti or whatever. So one who's dependent on Krishna then is peaceful. But at the same time, One also knows that Krishna is Suridam Sarvabhutanam. So therefore, whatever Krishna does in my life will definitely be for my benefits. So one has this full faith. Krishna is supreme controller. So whatever happens is under Krishna's control. But will Krishna do something wrong? No. Will he make some mistake? No. Why? Because he's Suridam. He's the best friend. So in this way, when one understands these facts, then one can actually be happy, peaceful, and attain liberation. Here it says Shantim refers to liberation. Thus ends the commentary on the 5th chapter of the Gita in the joy of the for the joy of the devotees, for the mercy of the acharyas. Okay, Prabhupada's lecture.
He wants how you shall be happy. In Sanskrit, for different kinds of friend, there are different names. Just like one friend is called Bandhu, one is called Mitra. One friend is called Suhrid. There are differences, therefore, there are different words. Just like in English language, there is only one word, friend. But in Sanskrit, because it is perfect language, friend, what kind of friend? So Krishna says, I am Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Suhrid. He wants how you shall be happy, Mitra. Social friendship, Bandhu, official friendship. But Shuhid means one who actually desires good of his friend, sincere friend, which you describe in English. So Krishna is Shuhid. He is always expecting my good. How I shall be good, therefore he is canvassing me, please, you surrender unto me.
So different types of friends. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Question. हाँ ठीक है बोलो.
So in one shloka, it came like the desires Krishna fulfills. I mean, the Supreme fulfills whatever we desires. So being in the ashram, we are trying to cultivate one desire to please seniors, Guru, Krishna. And on the other side, there are also desires which are by nature, Swabhav. So what Krishna would hear and how to correct ourselves.
So whatever is stronger will be fulfilled.
By nature, those desires which are naturally are stronger, it seems, within me. So
it all depends on your desire, what you want.
My question was in the context, like for whatever we hear. So in that way, we actually not fervently, but at least we pray before the Lord, before our spiritual master. So how does that intensity get judged that we are actually wanting that? Because in general, out of 24 hours, almost all the time is with those natural desires only somehow. But sometimes when we take darshan, we hear, we chant at that time for momentarily seconds.
So increase those moments. That's the only solution. So the more we become Krishna conscious, the more we can change the quality of the desire. The quality of the desires need to be changed. So the more we become Krishna conscious, the quality of desires will change. That's the only solution. So therefore, we are trying to engage ourselves 24 hours in Krishna service. And definitely that will help us to change our desires. And of course, we have to make some effort also to change. So when the material desires come up, then we have to intellectually subdue them, understanding that they're not good for us, and then try to cultivate the spiritual ones. Okay? It becomes easier in the association of devotees. So more one is in the association of devotees, then there's not much scope for fulfilling material desires, correct? At the most, you can eat little extra sweets if you get them. And NVCC not so easy to get also. I think in Hinjawad it's easier. वो किचन फिर तो क्या बहुत आसान है. हाँ बोलो. He gives you anything?
No.
Bolo.
Prajin, 5.24 Prabhupada says, a liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. So this factual experience, can it be referred to Shastric experience? Like when he reads Shastras, he gets some spiritual happiness. Or is it some other type of fact?
रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दीजिए